You're listening to the Boston Greeks podcast with Adi and Foti. They've been bringing Greek culture online since 1998, and now they're bringing you the best Greek guests Boston has to offer. So grab your kafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Boston Greeks podcast. Today, as usual, we have an amazing guest. This guest is somebody who she's involved, connected, and does a lot of stuff that's close to our hearts. We love her, and I'm sure you will too right after this interview. But before we bring her on, let me introduce my co-host, Foti Stamos. Hello, Foti.
Hello, Ari. And as you said, I'm also equally super excited to have our guest on. And, we don't realize how many amazing people are in our inner circle. And this is a great opportunity.
When we started this podcast, I step back and say, wow, we know some pretty cool, some pretty interesting, some pretty important people, and it's awesome. And I'm glad that we're able to kind of talk to all of these people.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we'd like to invite our guest on, Maria Behrakis, a Greek-American community activist and philanthropist who also serves on the Board of Trustees for Anatolia College, which we'll talk about in this session. But we want to welcome Maria. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life to be with us on Boston Greeks podcast.
Thanks, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time so much. Foti, where can we begin? Can we get a little bit of a background, maybe?
Let's also just mention that, Maria and her husband Drake, good dear friends of ours who've always been involved in many endless initiatives here locally, nationally, and globally for the Greek culture, the diaspora, and so forth. But Maria, being from Boston, can we get a little bit about your upbringing as a Greek American before we dive into all the great information?
Absolutely. I mean, I know that we've all seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Sure.
And I would say that while it applies to a lot of ethnic groups, that was my life. There was a time in my life where the Greekdom, if you will, was sort of oh my God, I'm so different. Like my mom speaks different. My parents have accents. They own a restaurant. Like, why are we so stereotypically Greek in a lot of ways? And I think there was a time in my childhood where I'm like, whoa, I'm a little too different. But soon after that, I'd say after my teenage years, maybe about 16, I fully embraced who we are and who I am. If anyone asks me who I am a Greek at heart. I happen to have been born in America. I still have very close ties to Greece on many levels. Familially, I have cousins and aunts and uncles that still live there. We have extended family that lives there on my side and Drake's side. And, I'd say over the last 10, 12 years, we've really sort of tried to do what we can in the diaspora to help Greece stay on the map, if you will. Yes. And Greece stay on the map, whether it's education like Anatolia, small businesses in Greece that need a way to break out of Greece or move into the States, health initiatives. So I think it's our way of giving back for the heritage and the background that it's provided us as Greek Americans to, stay immersed in the community.
And you grew up outside of Boston?
I grew up outside of Boston. I grew up in Medfield, Mass. I was born actually in Philadelphia, but then we moved here soon after. My dad was the quintessential pizza owner and had several restaurants, one in the town of Medfield. So we were the Greek pizza family. And it was, I'd say it's my dad's recognition across town. Like everybody knew who my dad was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was a great Greek guy. And he made good pizza. And it was, we were rooted in this really small community that embraced us.
I think we all share similar upbringings and similar experiences as a Greek family, where the restaurant was pretty much sort of the school of hard knocks and how we, got disciplined, and we took that on to our own careers and our own path. That going through the restaurant life really had an impact on us in a lot of positive ways as well. Mm-hmm. Because who liked waking up on a Saturday morning at 6:00 and going to help dad and mom at the restaurant when friends were playing ball or attending activities?
Yeah, and it's like, why isn't Maria coming? Well, she's helping her parents at the restaurant, or she's learning how to make something at the restaurant. Like it was, I'm not saying we actually tried to, we were immersed, but there was some separation in that my mom was home, my dad was at the shop. So he would come home in the afternoon after we got home from school, say hello, chit chat about our day, and then would go back to the pizza store for dinner. So yes, I think that's a relatable experience across several Greek families.
Sure.
I mean, I always used to say that the pizza place was my babysitter. It was, when we couldn't find someone to stay at home with us, we were in the little back office for a little bit. And it just felt normal. It was a second home for us. It really was.
Maria, we can go on and on about all the great endeavors that you've been part of, initiatives that we mentioned before. But we also want to also lead up to how you got connected to Anatolia and when did that happen for you?
Anatolia. So like I said before, I feel like as someone who's been in the Thessaloniki community since I was a kid, there was always this really great school, this Anatolia. And so it was always on my radar in terms of recognizing where it was and what it was. I'd say about 12 years ago, I was asked to be, God, time flies, asked to be on the board and sort of started getting involved in depth at that point. It was, some people will ask me like, why Anatolia? And I really do go back to Thessaloniki is like my second home. It does feel that way. And I feel like, not only do I feel like I'm giving back to a community that is ingrained in who I am, but also promoting things that both Drake and I believe in education and, giving everybody an opportunity to access education.
Now, for our listening audience, as far as mentioning the word Anatolia, I don't think many of us as a group realize that Anatolia has offices in Boston. And maybe we can talk about the connection between Thessaloniki and Boston. I'm a Greek-founded or Greek institution that has operations in the U.S. as well.
And I think that's part of the uniqueness of Anatolia in the sense that it's a Greek institution on Greek soil. It's a Greek entity, but that it's founded on American principles in terms of educational philosophy and innovativeness and things that sort of make it a little bit different from other private schools in Greece. It is it's sort of the best of both worlds.
When you say best of both worlds, that's so true because there's so many aspects of Greece and the Greek culture that put so much on the table for education, but there's also so much here in the States. And so it feels like you're getting the best of both of those things. So that's a very accurate description to me when I hear that, because it really does sound it.
And able to bring practices that we witness here with exposure to American institutions, and to the extent that it can be incorporated or brought to attention in the Greek school community. It's almost like we're not reinventing the wheel to some degree and bringing the success stories we've seen here and trying them out in a country that might not have thought about these things or for whatever reason wasn't able to go there and make these changes that have worked elsewhere.
Anatolia, other than it being a university, also has elementary school, a high school as well in Thessaloniki.
Yep, Anatolia runs the gamut from kindergarten, elementary, middle school and high school, and then ACT, which is the college version of Anatolia. A lot of people would say in the past, well, that's too much. Like that's a lot. But it's almost gives us an opportunity to grow and teach at all different stages of life. And I think that, for kids that start in elementary school, whenever they join the community, and then you see them graduating high school and they're either going to ACT or they're going to university in the States. They are, they're sort of, I don't know what the right word is, but the culture is instilled in them from a very young age. And that when you come to Anatolia, we know you're serious about your education.
As far as the offices here and enrollment, is the majority of students in Anatolia internationals or mainly Greeks living in Greece?
They're mainly Greeks living in Greece. On the different levels, for example, at ACT, the college level, there's a lot of summer exchange programs. We have a really strong relationship with Northeastern here in the States, so that they send us 300-400 students a year that either do a semester abroad or come to us from other schools in addition to Northeastern in the summertime for, like a stint in Greece. But the Northeastern community is a huge collaborator with Anatolia. Like I said, 300-400 students a year come spend a semester with us. And, I think the beauty of Greece is that, yes, you can get the educational experience, but you can also get the historical side of a country that means so much to so many cultures, not just us Greeks. And so they get to travel and they get to see not just ruins, but, different parts of Greece that most people wouldn't even think about. I think when non-Greeks think of Greece, they think of, the Greek islands. We think of Santorini and we think of the Acropolis, but Greece is so much more than that, culturally, physically, everything.
And does the reverse happen? Do other students that are also coming from Northeastern to Anatolia for semester?
I'm sorry, that's how it goes. So it's Northeastern kids coming to us for a semester.
Going to Thessaloniki.
Yes. Yeah. And they're on campus. Most of them we have off-campus housing for them so that they are immersed in the city, but close enough to campus. It's basically taking their college experience, their semester here, and just displacing it in our sister city of Thessaloniki.
That sounds fantastic.
I wish my parents would let me have gone to something like that.
Right?
Foti and I have young children, but, the more I think about it, I think that would be such a fantastic experience because I know I grew up going to Greece, almost every summer, and I have my college experience, but I feel like things have changed so much. My children are probably not going to see Greece as often as I have, and they probably won't get that experience, and hopefully, they're college bound. I mean, they're very young at this point, right. But maybe a future recommendation from Maria. I mean, that could help me.
Yes, I absolutely think that. And, we always, a lot of the things that we've been involved with, in particular, like the National Hellenic Society that brought us to Krasi that night, is this Heritage Greece program. And our Jewish counterparts have been doing this for years, these birthright trips that expose whether you have two Jewish parents in the Jewish faith, whether you have one, whether you have not, like if you have some basis in your Jewish culture, you can go on these birthright trips. And what we're trying to do is really give Greeks Americans, Greeks from mixed marriages, the opportunity to embrace their Greekdom, if you will. I keep using that word, but
I like that word.
To embrace their heritage, whether it's 100% or 25%, it doesn't really matter. And to your point, Ari, you give your kids the opportunity to spend a little time in Greece when, they might not be able to go like we used to every summer. Like I used to play with the neighborhood kids. Like we were fully immersed every summer. It's not easy to do anymore. Obviously, we all know that. I didn't even do it with my own kids. But even any type of exchange, whether it's, you don't even have to wait to college. You can do it late high school. It's we can talk more about it.
Excellent. Is there any thoughts of possibly expanding to other universities outside of Northeastern for these type of programs?
I know there's always talk. There are some small pockets of students that do join us for semesters. Northeastern is just our biggest cohort. And obviously the relationship linked to Boston has made that easier because we've had a relationship with Northeastern for a long time. So, but yes, there's always looking for other schools who are looking for a great place to send their students for a semester. Absolutely.
Excellent. Anything that you'd like to share with us that might be up and coming for Anatolia?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're always sort of doing a lot of different innovative things. One thing that I'm getting involved with now, which I'm super, super excited about, is bringing a whole well-being focus to the campus. We've seen a lot of things here in the States, and again, I don't, just because it happens here doesn't mean it happens in Greece, but you know what? Eventually it does. And things might trickle to different countries, but the mental health state of our students here, not just students, but that's my focus right now. Their mental well-being, their wellness overall, not just the mental or the physical, but putting those together. So I think what we've learned in the States is the universities and campuses that have a concerted effort or focus on these issues have seen success with their students. So we're working on that right now. I'm part of that committee to sort of do a sweeping evolution of our focus on well-being, but also at all levels. So I'm talking the third graders, the high school kids, college kids that are there. It's a huge endeavor, especially in a country that, and I don't want to badmouth anything about Greece, but there is a little bit of more of a stigma around mental issues and mental well-being than there are in other countries, unfortunately. And it's not just Greece. I think it's just not my kid,
right?
Not my family, not my community, not my neighborhood. Yeah. And so a lot of this new campaign that we're putting together is really doing some community outreach and trying to sort of stop the stigma that comes with a lot of these things, because nobody is immune from the mental issues that have come up, especially after COVID. And so really trying to soften the community around embracing these ideas and saying, okay, how, if we can Anatolia assist you in getting the help that you need for your family and your kids?
That is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's so important. I mean, like I said, as a parent, if I knew a school had a focus like that, or had the facilities or the whatever the kids need for their mental health, I would 100% go with that, because it's something that we don't talk about enough. We interviewed recently a psychologist, and he talked about all these things and the stigma that you spoke of. Very important, and very happy to hear that you guys are focusing on something like that.
Yeah, we're super excited. And I feel like I always say that Anatolia is on the cutting edge of a lot of innovative ideas. And as far as it goes with this mental well-being, it's the same holds there, because no one else is really doing it in Greece right now, at least on this level. There might be a classroom or there might be whatever, but a whole systemic sort of cultural shift to be able to talk about these issues doesn't exist right now. And super excited.
Amazing.
Might be opening some new doors for others to follow.
I hope so. I mean, like we said, I always say we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And so if there's knowledge that we have from the States that we can bring to Greece, great. If there's knowledge that Greece has that can help Ireland, great. It's sort of a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sure, Maria, there's more we can discuss about Anatolia, which at this point, what would be the best way for our audience to find out more information? I'm sure websites and so forth. Anything you want to share with us for those that are listening that can find out more about Anatolia?
Yeah, definitely the website. I mean, it's a pretty comprehensive overview of the school, the levels, what we offer. I'm happy to talk to anybody. They can reach out by email. Do we have my email on here, or do you want me to just say it?
We'll include it. We'll include it in the notes of the podcast.
I can reach out. Would love to chat more. We have quite a few trustees that are based in Boston, so our board is made up of Greek and Greek and American-based trustees. Mm-hmm. So that was also one of the things that I think brings a level of diversity to the board that most schools don't have. Mm-hmm. Again, there are some challenges that come with that, obviously, cultural challenges, but I'm talking like these philanthropic Americans who have no ties to Greece are so invested in this Anatolia community abroad that it's definitely a worth of a listen to, a read, and use me as a resource. Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, that was just refreshing to listen to you, Maria, because again, as Boston natives, Boston being a mecca for education as well, with all the universities that are around us, and being Greek American, that we're proud to have a Greek element in our own backyard.
Yep, absolutely. And it's a great place. It's a place that, for me personally fulfills that that need or want to use educational vehicles to improve kids' lives, whether it's a well-being program or, we have a ton of students on scholarship, so that you don't have to necessarily have the money to come to Anatolia if you got the merit. Like gotcha. Need an opportunity, and we want to take a kid from a place more of a remote part of Greece and give them the opportunity to get educated in a place that will change their lives. I mean, it does. It changes lives. Education changes lives, period.
Absolutely.
100%.
Well, there you have it. Ari, anything else that you might want to include or ask?
Yes, I just want to say once again, thank you so much, Maria, for being with us, taking the time, sharing, everything that you're involved in, and what you're involved in is so important and so amazing. And we appreciate you sharing that with us and our audience. And, everybody out there heard it. She's going to give my kid a recommendation when he's ready. So
absolutely.
We'll put you on the spot. But thanks again, Maria. We appreciate it. Your husband, Drake, is one of our favorite people in the world. And
mine too.
Good. That works out.
Yeah.
But
go ahead, Pati.
We definitely want to have Maria back at some point as well. I'm sure we can share some more updates with Anatolia or anything else that you'd love to share with us in our audience. So definitely we'll have you back at some point soon.
Absolutely. I would love it. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thanks again, Maria Behrakis, Anatolia College. Thank you, Foti. Thanks everybody out there for watching and listening, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.